What's going on, guys? ECP back here.
You're wrong.
With ICCC. Mike is already upset.
Well,
we got Mike the Mike guy joining us.
What's up, Mike?
Hello.
Yeah, man.
Welcome
hey,
to the
before we get into our heated argument, why don't you tell everybody that's watching at
please.
home right now about your podcast? And
Actually, I have a YouTube channel. I
YouTube channel.
even
My
better.
bad.
podcast
My bad.
yet. I thought about making a podcast at some point.
Well,
just,
aren't YouTube channels just the kind of the birth of podcasts a little bit?
I think so. Yeah.
They're the fancier.
They're
Yeah.
They're the video podcasts.
He puts a little more effort
Yeah,
into it than
right.
you do.
He puts
Yeah,
a
I don't-
lot
why
more.
don't-
Tell us about your podcast or your YouTube. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's just basically whatever I feel like making videos about, whatever I'm passionate about. You know, I love airplanes. Actually, I'm working in the aviation industry now. So,
nice.
yeah, I've always
Nice.
done a lot of videos about that.
Perfect.
Oh,
He's
God.
into aviation.
And that's why he's like, hey, can I join this conversation about fuel?
Hey,
Aviation.
let's
So he's
correct
going to
that.
have
You
a lot
invited
of
me.
hands on.
Yeah, that is true. We did invite him. He's like, can I just? And we're like, take a seat. Take a seat.
So he's gonna have a lot of hands-on experience to this discussion. So we're going to transition
Yes, we
from
are.
his aviation into this discussion about fuel
I
in
love you,
Star
Matt.
Wars.
I love you, Matt. And it's
So Micah, we started the other day about Last Jedi and a scene in Last Jedi
Yes.
that then transitioned into fuel existence in Star Wars.
Okay.
And apparently,
Whoa.
apparently Micah hates all fuel.
No, that is not
in
true.
Star Wars.
See, this is Matt taking my words and just turning them around. I said I hate that the scene in Last Jedi is all about them running out of fuel.
Okay, but tell us why that bugs you so much.
So what bugs me is they all have fuel. All of
Uh-huh.
them have. They just don't have enough because of the tracking device.
Yeah.
So my problem is why didn't they all just go in 6 different directions and hit hyperspeed? They can only chase one of you. They can't chase them all.
Okay, but how many ships were there?
There was like 4 or 5. There was the lead ship.
Yeah.
There was the medical frigate.
Yeah.
There was two or three medium transports.
Uh-huh.
The medium transports could have landed on the medical frigate, and then I think there was one more cruiser. Oh, excuse me.
Thank you for ruining that.
Well, that's just someone trying to ask me about my extended warranty that I don't have. Where was I going? Sorry. So they could have landed on them, or even went their own way too.
Yeah.
So the problem I have is they all just one by one ran out of fuel until the lead ship was left. When they literally all could have been like, hey, we're going to rendezvous at so-and-so. And then everyone go in their own direction and go into hyperspace. And find a planet. The planet would have fuel to refuel them.
So when you watch car chases on TV,
Right.
and the main car chase guy that's entertaining us all, do you think that his gas is just going to last all day long and entertain us? Or do you think he's
No,
gonna
but I feel
eventually
like
run out
he
of-
could use the remaining gas he has to get away from someone who's chasing him.
So, all right. But
And if he has nitro, which would be light speed, thank you very much, he could get out of there really fast.
all right, so
Sorry,
is
see, I
it
did
just
that-
that because they were running out of gas?
No, the tracking device thing also bothered me too. But that's the reason why they couldn't jump into hyperspace, because if they were to jump into hyperspace again, they would just be followed. So they're all thinking to themselves, okay, so if we all jump to the same place, they'll just follow us again. When
Yeah.
they could go, hey, we're rendezvousing on Hoth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone go find a planet, and that's a Republic planet, because they have a new Republic. Hyperspeed to that planet. Not everyone go to the same planet. When we play hide and go seek, do you all go hide behind the same tree? No.
Usually, yeah. I'm lazy.
Sometimes.
Well, then you suck at hide and go seek. It's not my problem with the fuel. My problem is that they used fuel as the scapegoat to have a long pod race type scene that.
But
didn't
that's
need to
the
happen.
only feasible reason of why they would be able to stay with them,
Well, of course, it was a created. Hey, let's just not give them enough gas, so they can't leave.
Yeah, but they followed them long enough to where eventually they're going to
But
run out of gas.
they all said we only have enough fuel to make one more hyper jump.
Yeah,
Okay, so everyone make one more hyper jump. Just don't go to the same place.
except for the one ship that they would be abandoning, which has Leia on it.
Not true. They could have took a shuttle and moved Leia to another ship, and they wouldn't even know. They could have took 5 shuttles and moved them to 5 ships, and they wouldn't have known which ship Leia was on.
All right, but you would still be abandoning your main ship that
It
has
doesn't matter.
a
The whole
majority
point is
of
to
your
keep the rebellion
ships.
alive. or the Resistance alive?
All right, so
So if
but
Leia's
that was
alive, the
whole
Resistance
point.
is alive.
That was the whole point. So so it's all about Leia now.
Well, that's
And-
what you just said. I'm just answering your question, man.
No, but you made it to where like this one. So you're bothered by the fact that they were running out of fuel. They made it to where they brought a real life situation into Star Wars. That was what you said yesterday.
Yes,
was
no,
like
that
you
is-
were
that
like,
is true.
You brought a real life situation
that is
because
true.
Star Wars, you don't bring real life situations
Yeah, but
into a like this
in
mythical
this
world.
form of real life situation of running out of fuel, they still had an option. It's not like they're like, we're out of fuel and only the lead ship has enough fuel to get away. They said we all only have enough fuel to make one jump to hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, everyone make one jump to hyperspace, but don't go to the same place. Go to a separate planets. They can only follow one of you. They can only track the lead ship, right? They said that.
true.
Am I correct?
That's very
They
true.
said they can only track the lead ship. So put Leia on a different ship, use 5 shuttles. They had them because that's how they got to the planet. They
Yeah.
all got in medium transports and they went down to the planet and abandoned the big ship. So what I'm saying is take Leia. The fuel thing is not really the issue I have. The issue I have is the story was written stupidly to where they just used that as an excuse when they could have said, okay, everyone just go your own separate way. But there's no writing that you could do to that except the ship finds which ship Leia was on.
So, Mike, jump in here, being that you're in aviation and everything, and you have experience with running out of
Star
fuel.
Destroyer.
Like, what do you think about this?
See, I mean, there has to be an existence of fuel. I mean, and
Which I agree.
there has
to be an
And,
existence
I mean,
of fuel.
and I'll even reference. They even said in Mandalorian there that doesn't even pay for fuel when he's talking about
Right.
with I'm trying to remember who it was he was talking to there.
Oh,
in the
he was
cantina.
talking to when they were on the aquatic plant.
No, this is actually in the first episode. Actually, yeah, when he gets paid for the bounty.
Yeah.
He says he won't even pay for fuel.
Carl Weathers' character.
Yeah, it's Carl Weathers' character.
Grief cargo.
Grief
Grief
Cardigan.
Cardigan.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
like,
you.
I'm
Yeah.
like Apollo Creed.
But there has to be an existence of fuel. There's no argument about that.
Yeah.
But I do have to agree with his point on the fact that they could have just gone in separate directions and they would.
Right.
They had to
See,
track
and
one ship.
I disagree with that, man, because you have to have the despair movie before the hope movie. Infinity War.
No. Okay.
Okay,
I
yeah.
can agree with that, but the way they did it was stupid.
I
That's
agree.
not stupid. That is like that's
No, what
like
they should have
the
done
most
is
common way
okay.
you could
If
do
you
it.
better story, same thing happens, except instead of them running out of fuel, they disable the ships, all their hyperdrive. Like the Star Destroyer shoots and hits each ship, or the TIE fighters during the attack where Kylo Ren comes out and blows.
Yeah.
Spoilers if you haven't seen Last Jedi, by the way.
You're a little late for now.
That
Yeah, you're a little
attack,
late.
if that
Sorry.
attack would have, they just said the TIE fighter attack disabled most of our ships. Then
Yeah.
I'd have been like, okay,
That,
well,
that actually would have been better writing,
yeah.
in my opinion.
Then you're like, then fuel's not an issue. You're talking about just like in episode 1 when they were trying to leave the blockade and the hyperdrive was leaking, but the hyperdrive was damaged. They weren't like, hey, we're out of hyperdrive fuel, so we can't get to Coruscant.
So is your argument that running out of fuel was too simplistic?
Yes. My argument
That
is
makes
the
sense.
way that they wrote The Last Jedi for them not to be able to get away is because of fuel.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. Everything needs to run on even their blasters have to change out cartridges for blaster bolts. What I'm saying is if they all had enough fuel to hyperdrive for one hyperdrive jump, they all didn't need to hyperdrive to the same place like they did before.
Yeah.
They could have hyperdrive. All right, Leia, you hyperdrive to Mustafar, you to Hoth, you to a Republic planet, because we had a Republic. Am I correct? There was
So-
a new Republic.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this then. In that scenario, because the lead ship was the furthest away, that's why the cannons couldn't reach it. If they were to transfer Leia to one of those other ships that could possibly jet out of the way, she gets on that ship, boom, cannon fire, she gets blown up because these ships are the ones behind.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I can throw a scenario at you for that. So let's say there's the medical frigate and the lead ship and 2 other ships. Four medium transports go, and then 1 immediately takes off. What's the I always say with the Empire, but it's not the Empire. There was the
First order.
First Order. Thank you. What's the First Order going to do? Are they going to go? One already took off in hyperspace. Do we chase that one or do we stay with the lead ship? Well, they're thinking Leia could still be on the lead ship, or Leia could have just booted out of there.
But Kylo's there. He can sense where Leia is.
That's true.
Okay? So, boom, now they've left going towards Leia, and the rest of the Resistance is alive.
Or they just catch
And then
up,
we have a better
destroy-
story of them chasing Leia.
Or they destroy everybody but Leia, and we're just left with Leia.
Well, they'll have to make a decision. There was only one ship there. It was Kylo's.
But we
Star
can't
Destroyer.
do that. We can't follow Leia anymore. Leia and them have had their movies.
Look, man, I'm just telling you what we got. Look,
Leia-
this is
Leia
what
had her
Disney. This is
three.
what Disney gave you. It's just like the argument when people are like, "I want more Luke Skywalker, like the Mandalorian, where he's jumping around like yo." Dude, we got a 65-year-old Luke.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill is 65 years old, or
All right,
66.
now Mike is down his.
I'm
his
just
Luke
saying,
rabbit
man.
hole.
For the purists of Star Wars fans, and I've said it before in many podcasts. Yes, I want that Luke Skywalker too, but my beef is with George Lucas 20 years ago when he should have made that movie.
Yeah.
No, but haven't you heard they're talking about having the guy who plays Winter Soldier?
Yes, and I will
being
take
Luke
that all
Mark-
day long.
Yeah,
He looks like Luke Skywalker because
he does.
like what the Mandalorian gave us, and I understand that. I don't know if everyone here has seen the Mandalorian season 2. If you haven't, spoiler. Luke Skywalker shows up at the end of Mandalorian season 2, and I believe I believe that was 100% fan service to all the old fans of Star Wars to give them that Luke Skywalker badass moment. And I know all of us in this room who when he walked in with the hood over, everyone's going, "Oh my God, is it really Mark or is it Sebastian Stan? Is it a really bad deep fake? Is it exactly?" Everyone is like, "Oh my!" I mean, just thinking about it right now gives me goosebumps because yes, I want that.
All right, but hold on. Did you like that they gave him the same moment as Vader in Rogue One? Did you like that, or would you have wanted something different?
I loved it.
You loved it? Because it was
We
like
got
shot
to set
for
up
shot.
a mic for the crowd.
I mean, don't you think it was
So
like
somebody could
shot
just
for
walk up
shot?
and-
Like that, all I know is I saw that saber, I saw the black
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's all the glove.
Yeah.
glove, I was like, here we go.
As soon as you saw it.
you know the anticipation of leading up to that scene because we're all wondering, like, it's got to be Luke. It's got to be Luke. I mean, it has to.
I knew
be.
it was Luke when
and
they
then
said
you see
great,
the
single
X-wing, and you're
X-wing.
like, it's Luke. It's Luke. And then, but you don't. Okay, but if one thing is taught, if Disney's taught us that you can't put all your hope in the most obvious things, like because you could see an X-wing and then it'd be one of those stupid X-wing resistant fighters, and you're like, well, my dreams are shot. So
Yeah.
you're still like, it's got to be. It's got to be. But
gotta
I'm not
be
going to
Luke.
give it all in. It's got to be. And then you see the lightsaber, and then everybody's running around and and all that. So
And it's amazing. But if you want that, you're going to have to get a recast. It's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have. Now, my one big beef with Disney's Star Wars movies is they didn't give us what the real fans wanted. And I'm fine with all the stories they did with Luke. The story that was supposed to be with Leia, if Carrie Fisher didn't die, was going to be great.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with what they did with Han Solo and how Han Solo died. What I wanted is I wanted the three. I wanted Luke, Han, and Leia all in one place to have that moment. And that's where Disney shot the
Oh yeah.
the pooper. Excuse me. That we didn't get that moment. We didn't get the Han, Luke, and Leia moment that everyone wanted because that is what made the original trilogy so well. Is those three characters together was just as good as separate. Was just as good as a whole.
see,
I mean, come on, man. When you saw
I'm-
Luke, Leia, and Han and Chewie all in the cockpit, you're like, that's family.
Okay, but you have three. You have the first three originals. Go back and watch those. These are not Luke, Han, and Leia's
I
movies.
understand that. I understand that.
This is we're bringing a whole new fan base in while appeasing original fan base, and we're meshing. We're meshing.
No, I
here.
get it.
That's a
But
hard
we
thing to
don't
do.
need to focus on them. Yeah, we could feel good inside by seeing
Well,
them,
I
but they
would just.
already.
I don't need them to be the whole movie. That I just like the Leia and Luke moment where he walks in and kisses her forehead, and that whole "I changed my hair," and the Leia Han moment when he put her, embraced her in his chest. Even though you can tell that they have had hard times with each other because of the downfall of their son Ben Solo.
Yeah.
Some moment like that. I don't need all right, it's all three of us. Now it's going to be our type of movie. I just needed.
See, and
It could have been one on a computer screen and the other two. Like,
And I might be in the minority, but I kind of didn't like. I didn't focus on Luke, Leia, and Han only because the way they brought their characters back kind of ruined the arc for each one. Because with Luke, they kind of made him a dick. And then like he just gave up on the world, and like he was the most hopeful person in Star Wars, and then it was like a 180. I don't care about the Force. I'm turning it off, and I'm gonna go fish. I'm gonna go poke a fish, and then I'm gonna go cook some fish, and I'm gonna drink some milk. Okay. And then with Leia, Leia was the only one that stuck. Like she was the leader, she was the colonel, she was the queen. She's the only one that stuck. Han had a kid, and then kind of just went back to smuggling.
Yep.
And I'm like, where's the love interest? We had the whole love interest in the first 3 movies that came to fruition, and now Han doesn't care. They had a kid, they gave up, and now I'm going to go smuggle because that's what I'm good at.
Love, sometimes love is shown different ways.
All right.
Sometimes heartbreak.
Yes, but they came back and they acted like they haven't seen each other in a long time.
They didn't.
But that's dumb. You don't spend 3 movies with one of the greatest loves in sci-fi history and then make it to where they don't care anymore. They had a kid. I'm good. I'm going to go smuggle. That's where I love.
He left because of the downfall of Ben Solo. Because remember,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, say he left. He didn't leave because he didn't love Leia. He left because he felt like he let her down, letting Ben.
Hold on. I want to hear Mike's.
It's the only way he could cope with it. It was really he went back to what he was good at and what made him happy.
All right, but so he gives up on Leia because Leia was his first love.
Yeah.
That should have been what he stuck around for. I mean, kids.
I agree.
Kids,
he should have.
Like kids can be B words and then be disappointments and whatever, and they turn 18 and they're their own thing. But your woman is the one that's still there. Yeah. Ashley, am I right? Like
she said, sure, I'm not listening.
Like if your kids were disappointments, would your husband just leave? No, see, and like so.
Well, technically, her husband wasn't a smuggler before they met and helped destroy the Death Star.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. They already
unless he is, and I just don't know that.
They changed their arc, so now you're gonna go back. You're gonna watch the original, and you're gonna figure out, oh, he's gonna have a disappointing kid, and this kiss this iconic kiss in the Millennium Falcon doesn't even matter anymore. Because that was, am I wrong? Like that that was one of the most romantic scenes in a sci-fi movie. Like people go to Disneyland or Disney World, get in the Millennium Falcon ride, and find that spot so they can recreate that kiss.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, see,
we did it too.
But now it doesn't matter because he had a disappointing kid and he went back to smuggling. Smuggling is more important than Leia.
It broke his heart, and that's
I
how
don't care. His kid broke his heart.
Some people are emotionless.
Leia did not break his heart. What's he going to say?
Just like to point out the irony that you are upset about the everydayness of needing fuel, but like broken families.
Not upset about that.
Thank you, Ashley.
I just want to point out. Okay.
Thank you, Ashley.
Hey, give me Cam right here. Am I on? Cammy, right here. Cammy, I'm on.
Thank you.
I am not disappointed that there is fuel in Star Wars. I'm disappointed that they used fuel as an excuse when they all had enough fuel. That they all had enough fuel to go one more hyperdrive or one more hyperjump.
But you had said the mentality, the mundanity of it was what is annoying.
Exactly.
Everyday thing. But like, no, broken families.
Yeah. That's a realistic thing.
Some people cope with broken families in a different.
Okay, but that's a real life.
We're getting down to like I feel like we need a social worker.
No,
here.
I am a social worker. Social worker right here.
Hold on. I need to cleanse you.
I am a social worker, but that she's exactly right. It's a real life situation that they put in the movie that you're okay with, but running out of gas is not okay.
But that's the thing. They still had enough gas to go somewhere.
Eventually, they did it. They did at one point in there.
Yeah.
All right, but what about
it's poor writing? That's what I'm saying. I'm okay with the fuel.
He's mad about the writing.
I'm mad about the writing,
fuel.
not the fuel.
All right, but
what
about?
I give two shits if they're using crystals or whatever.
What about?
My point is, they're like, well, we got one more hyperdrive. Well, I guess we'll just sit here.
He's looking at one aspect. He's looking at the fuel part. He's not bringing up the argument of leadership.
Yeah.
That was stalling a lot of decisions in the lead ship. I do believe there was a mutiny between Poe Dameron and
after Leia. was blown out of into
Exactly.
space and came back and was in a coma.
Yeah, there was a lot going on to where they can't make the simple decision of, hey, let's go to separate ships and jump into places, right?
Well,
There's
true.
a lot of
They would
stall
if I was a
factor.
writer for Disney. Just saying.
So-
Leia would have lived. She wouldn't have been blown up. Poe wouldn't have done what he did. We wouldn't have had the Hodor maneuver. Let me tell you about the Hodor maneuver, because anyone can do that.
All right, but I will say that
And a
in
droid
Last
can't do
Jedi,
that. Droids can't just run a ship into a.
I will say I did kind of hate because when I'm watching the new trilogy, I'm focusing more
I wish
on
Josh
the
was
new
here. He loves
the
this
new
movie.
characters. So I was disappointed in Poe Dameron in Last Jedi because they kind of made him like a little B word, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, they made him a leader in one. And then in two,
Yeah,
he
don't
was
even get me
like,
started
"No,
on
I
Poe
should be
Dameron.
leader."
Yeah.
Mutiny.
Yeah.
You know,
I hated that whole part.
like that because I'm
just saying,
focused
I
on
would
their
compare that
characters.
scene to break it down. I would compare that scene to the pod racing scene.
What was
It's
the
a-
most disappointing scene
it's a
in
scene
Last
that
Jedi
didn't-
for you, man?
I'd say that entire scene. That
the
entire.
fuel scene.
I honestly, yeah, and I laughed because in the theater, did they do this in your theater where they actually came out and told you that the movie was going to be silent for almost a solid minute?
No.
They actually came out and told us.
No.
This is the premiere. They came out and told us that the movie was going to be silent for a solid minute. And don't worry, nothing is wrong with the movie.
No, they didn't do that for me,
Yeah,
man.
they did that at our
No.
premiere.
Like
yeah.
if you were to take that and we only have one more hyper jump. Okay, we're gonna come with rendezvous at so and they all hyper jump, and then give me a different scene with Leia or whatever, and give me a different scenario. Don't even
Yeah.
get me started also on the Canto Bite.
All right, I'll give you Canto
Okay.
Bite. Canto Bite was kind of
It's just that movie to me. The storyline as a whole is not bad. It's just there's some situations in it where you're like, dude, come on, you're just filming a movie right now. You're making this movie 2 hours and 30 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, they could have cut like 28
So,
to 30 minutes.
That
of
that
movie.
situation with the fuel is not the issue I have. It's the writing of how
I got
they did
you,
it.
Ashley. We're gonna get him.
So you look, okay.
You guys are looking at a septic tank and picking out each piece of turd.
Exactly. Thank you. You're like, hey, look, this one's silver. This is a silver turd.
And then the other one and saying the one corn is worth more than
And
the other.
and Mike's like, oh, found me a gold one. Still smells like crap, but it's still a turd. I mean, the Last Jedi of the three is the turd. Can we all agree that?
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah, I
That
can
one-
respect
that one
Thank
was
you.
the worst.
Ashley? Thank you. Hey, look at that. We agree. Oh, wait. Which one? I don't know where the camera's at.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't call it a turn. I would say there's some pretty.
I would
bad
call it the
moments.
Attack of the Clones of the trilogy.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
Like Attack of the Clones,
bugs
you're
me.
like, oh my god, and then you're like, ooh, they're a Geonosis, and there's a bunch of lightsabers.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. As soon as Mace Windu walks in and says this party is over, the movie's great.
All right, so we have another argument. I'm going to say for later on the day when we're tired, y'all should come back. We have a whole argument. I took the devil's advocate side of the Emperor and how he's not really
This
that
is
evil.
actually a
This
good
is
argument.
A perspective of Emperor
From a
versus
certain
the
point of
Jedi.
view.
Because, like, I was like, if you think about it, man, Mace Windu is more evil than the Emperor. And I pointed out, like, 3 scenes that prove this.
Yeah.
And so
Just
I'm gonna
ask the
save
que-
that. I'm
ask
gonna
the-
save that for when we're tired because I want to get emotional about that one. I want to get
He
like,
brought.
really
I have to say
emotional.
though, he brought up a really good point that we had this over dinner.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, I'm gonna save it though. I'm gonna save it because that's gonna be a
it's
whole
an interesting.
thing.
It's an interesting question. I
But-
have to say that is an interesting question.
gotta-
yeah, but
Yes.
we're gonna wrap this up. All right, look, one more thing before we wrap up. We're gonna wrap up this little podcast. What did you think of? I'm gonna ask Mike, just Mike,
That's fine.
of the entire
might answer,
end
though.
scene with Rey and the voices of past Jedi. What did you think of that?
I think it was a good scene in a sense of, you know, that all the Jedis are coming together with her. I thought that was kind of a good scene, but I'll be honest, the rest of that scene was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
let's just be honest
Yeah.
with that one. But I think that was a good scene to have with all the voices of the old past.
Yeah, but
Jedis
have you
and
seen
stuff.
where the guy
Yeah.
edited and put them in the actual characters?
There's
I think I
the-
did see that one.
Yeah,
actually.
there was
yeah.
an edited YouTube video that is amazing. That looks like Disney quality effects, where he added the Jedi
actually
talking.
That would have been
yeah.
And
all
when
doing
she
this.
goes doing this, and then when she goes forward with her force, they just like all kind of merge. That, I will say, in the new trilogy is the biggest missed opportunity
Agreed.
Yeah.
of the entire trilogy, because when we started hearing voices, we were all wanting to see them.
Mm-hmm.
See them like in some form or fashion. You don't even have to see all of them, because I know that they use animated Ahsoka, so like you can't really throw the animated, but you can throw the original people who did the original characters
Well,
in there. in
What
some
I
way.
would have done is the voices part. I would have done a Yoda. I would have done Ahsoka, Kanan, Plo Koon, the ones that we heard that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then I would have had Qui-Gon, Mace Windu, Luke Skywalker, and Yoda, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker. All the big Council Jedi.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you would have seen them, because we wouldn't really need to see the Clone Wars type.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you notice, Mace Windu's voice wasn't in there, so
I thought he said something.
no, I don't think he did, man.
No, I didn't hear it.
No, because I point, like, when you look up the voices, man, you even hear, what's his name from Rebels?
Yeah, you heard Kanan. you
Yeah,
heard-
Yeah.
Canon. So, like, but you don't hear Mace, so I'm going to throw it out there
Yeah.
for a future Mandalorian,
Mm.
Disney,
I
Mandalorian,
don't feel
Boba
like
Fett.
he
You
was
see what I'm
there.
saying? I think you see what I'm saying. All right, we're going to wrap it up here for
Yeah.
this argument. We're going to be back. Come down to the ICCC. Come into the media room. We got some new setup. We got Mike, the mic guy. He's all set up over there. You'll see him walking around ICCC, showing you some good stuff. We have Ashley's
Ashley,
table.
bring me a piece up.
Yeah, bring a piece up and show on the video
Oh,
camera.
and she grabs the Star Wars
Heck
one.
yeah.
These pieces right here. Hit me, Jim. I'm coming to you. There you go. Hit me with this piece. Ashley, who's also on our podcast, she has some great art. These things are amazing. They light up.
Like book
like
decorations, for your library.
For your library. Yeah, they are amazing. This thing is just
What's
on
the name
fire.
of the Etsy shop?
Yes.
Weathering
Weathering
Lights.
Lights,
Go to
thank you.
go to Etsy, look up Weathering Lights. Look at some of the amazing stuff she has. She's going to be launching. She's building up her inventory. She's going to be launching in May 1st. So be looking out for that. She's got a lot of good product here. If you want to come down, walk into the media room, look at what she's got
Yes.
started. It's some amazing stuff. I see some Jurassic Park over there. Harry Potter.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, she also does for all you D&D people who are
Yes.
going to be competing down in the D&D area. She's got some D&D dice boxes that are really cool. And you can come nerd out with her because she is a huge dungeon master.
Huge.
So you can come and get some tips and see where you can buy some of her dice boxes. We also have Deidre DeWitt's table over here. She's got a book where you get to choose the ending.
Yes.
Which is really awesome. This is a new concept of books. Micah's distracting me with Samuel L. So he was in Rise of Skywalker. Okay. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't alive for a Mandalorian, because that's
No.
before
I
that.
still think he's alive for the Mandalorian. Well, and remember, Rise of Skywalker happens 30 years plus later.
Yeah.
so-
Exactly. We also have some raffles happening
Yes.
this weekend in all tables. So make sure you come in, look at all this stuff. Come down to ICCC, look at everything that's going on. We got StarPod in the house. Make sure that you follow their podcast. They're great. So we will be back. Come down to ICCC and see us. Nerd out with us. We'll see you later.